So, Donbrothers episode 39. Was this an episode of Super Sentai or an episode of Dragon Ball Z? I don't fucking know, but this episode was really cool to watch. And the ending. We will get to the ending because that ending was... holy shit. This episode was a solid 10 out of 10 for me. From start to finish, I really enjoyed this episode. So, this episode saw the debut of Don Killer, a character that was hyped up in the magazines and made its debut. A lot of people were hoping that Don Killer would turn into like a Green Ranger, but we didn't get that in the episode, unfortunately. But Don Killer was really cool to see on screen, I will say that. I just loved how Don Killer bodied our heroes throughout the episode and bodied the Cerebians in the episode as well. But not only that, I love the little Avengers reference they put in there when Don Killer would hunt down like Kijino and Iniro. That was a lot of fun. That got a laugh out of me. But freaking hell, where do I begin with this episode? So, we'll take it from the top. So, the episode starts off with our heroes cleaning the cafe because Kaito's on business. He's never at the store, he's always on business. He's either doing something in that back room or he's never there. How is that place still in business? I don't know. I have no idea. So they're cleaning, they find a safe, and they're like, ooh, it's a safe. Let's all put in our birthdays together. So Haruka puts in her birthday, Sarah Brother puts in his birthday, and Kijino puts in his birthday. And what do you know? It opens up and there's a switch in there. And they just stare at it for a while, and Jiro's like, oh, this is my part. He presses it, and it summons Don Killer. But I love it when as soon as they press it, Kaito shows up and he's like, what have you done? And Jiro just passes it to Kijino, and he's like, well, I've got to get going. Bye. So that got a laugh out of me. So Don Killer shows up. Don Killer just bodies our heroes instantly. But I did love the cold opening where it's did this really cool cold opening where it showed the fight between the Rangers and Don Killer, where they said on March 4th, the Don brothers were created. And on December 4th, they might end. Find out how. And then it did the opening. So that was really freaking cool. I love that. I freaking love that. So, Don Killer was a lot of fun to see on screen. Like I mentioned earlier, just how wacky and silly Momotaro's actor was with that appearance, like just being a robot and having these weird, crazy expressions. Not only that, the special effects were just crazy as well, especially that one scene where he opens up his mouth and spits out a missile and shoots laser eye beams. I mean, like I said, was this an episode of Dragon Ball Z with all the beam struggles and the beam firing? I did make a joke saying that Don Killer was basically Android 16. Yeah, that's true. This guy was basically the Terminator. So, Don Killer's whole purpose is if the Don brothers forget their mission or they forget the events of their mission, then Don Killer is there to sort of pick up the pieces or get rid of them or something like that. But yeah, but it doesn't attack Cerebians, which I did like Sonoi coming to the aid of frickin' Momotaro, where he's like, hey, I can help you, and Momotaro's like, no, I don't want you getting involved, this is my mess, I'll clean it up. And Sonoi's like, I'm the only one who can kill you, Momotaro. So I love it how they later confront Don Killer, but because Don Killer ate mustard, because apparently mustard was his weakness, after he ate a sundae with mustard in it that Kaito put in there, he starts malfunctioning, and then he forgets who his true enemy is, and he starts fighting the Cerebians. And I love Sonoi's weakness, where he's like, alright, fuck this shit, I'm leaving, and he just turns around and bolts, which is so out of character for him, but I do like how he knows when the tides are against him, he knows when to get the fuck out of there. Like, he knew seeing what that thing could do to, like, Momotaro and the others, he was like, yeah, we're next, we're getting out of here. And he's like, okay, I live another day to fight you, Don brother, Momotaro, so we get to have our rematch eventually. So that was cool. Also, Jiro goes back to his hometown again, and he visits the person that raised him as a child, and we'll get to that in a bit, because I want to talk about the other stuff. We also have Kijino talking to Miho Natsumi, and there's this scene where he's writing his will, and then Don Killer confronts him, and he's like, I ain't dying today. And then he gets sort of like freaking Loki'd from Avengers. That was a lot of fun as well. But we find out when Kaito goes to talk to the jailer, and this is the first time we've seen these characters interacting before, but judging by the way they spoke to each other, it seems like they've spoken before, which is very interesting as well. Like, these characters have never interacted in the show before, and this is their first time talking, so I get the feeling they've had a lot of off-screen discussions before the show even began. So that's something to take note of. But the jailer, Momotaro's dad says, hey, have you heard of Don Killer? So we get this cool fight scene at the end where Haruka and Momotaro, they sort of have this moment where Haruka says, like, last moments of me are living, I want to draw my manga, and Momotaro shits on it like he usually does. And Momotaro says, hey, you've got to live so you can draw better manga. I like that moment. And then Zenkaija Black shows up, and we get this awesome fight scene of them trying to hold off Don Killer. And then Don Killer shows up. And Don Killer is based on Saru Brother, which is weird to see him based on that. I thought he would be based on Jiro or something like that. But the running joke they do with the killers looking like rangers, unmorphed rangers, is like aesthetic reasons because they look so handsome. So that's the running joke. But there was a lot of good jokes in this episode as well, like when Inu Brother gets put in the hospital and then you see Kiji Brother rocking up later. They're like, oh, what happened to you? And Kiji knows, like, oh, I fell down some stairs. And Inu Brother's like, me too. And then there's that scene when they're in the hospital, and because conveniently Inu Brother's not there when they get the morph call, he's out getting a drink by the drink stand from the coffee machine, so he doesn't morph with the others. So once again, Inu Brother has his own little separate morph summon. So, there is a monster of the week. It's based on Jaku. Doesn't do anything this episode. It shows up at the start of the episode, shows up at the end of the episode, and gets destroyed. That's its whole purpose, and it's screaming, notice me, in the episode. But we also get to see Jiro and Momotaro turn into Ryu's Soul Red and Ryu's Soul Gold, which, if you're a Westerner, like me, you'd probably call that Zato and Ion. But yeah, it was really cool to see Momotaro turn into that form with his armor on it. So they destroy the monster of the week, all is well. There's no proper resolve to the Don Killer and the Don Killers thing, because they have a really cool beam struggle, and then they fly out into space, and they start having a Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods battle out in space, and Kaito just says they'll probably keep fighting for all eternity, going throughout the galaxy. So that leaves that plotline open, so if they ever want to bring back those characters, whether it be in a movie or a V-Cinema or a end game near the end game arc, then that plotline's always open. So keep that in mind. So the episode ends. This is what you've all been waiting for. The episode ends with Jiro hanging out at his little hometown, and he's folding origami, and he's singing, and he hears his father pull up, his caretaker pull up, and he's like, he's home. And as he runs out, the camera slowly zooms into all the origami on the ground, and you see a penguin. That's right. Is Jiro the penguin Juto the whole time? Because if he is, holy fucking shit, I was not expecting this. I was not expecting this at all. This was a plot twist I did not see coming. I did not see coming at all. And I know I'm all over the place. Like, I'm doing this video in like almost one take. But I did not see Jiro becoming the Penguin Juto. My money was on Kaito, but it could be Jiro or it could be his dad. You never know, because we don't know much about the person who raised Jiro at all. He could be a bestial, you never know. But if Jiro was the Penguin Juto the whole time, holy shit, hats off to that. So, that's where the episode ends. This episode, like I said, I loved it from start to finish. I freaking enjoyed it. I can't wait to see where the show is going to go next, because next week we're entering the 40s for Donbrothers. I can't believe I reviewed almost 40 episodes of Donbrothers on the channel. That is crazy. I'm so glad you guys are watching these reviews and enjoying them. I'm glad you guys love checking them out. But what did you guys think of episode 39 of Donbrothers? Love it? Hate it? Tell me your predictions down below. Start discussions in the comment section. I want to know where you think the show is going towards the end game. I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. So, with that said, I think I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.